Hello all and welcome in to WHF here in another pre-season race. We're here in Belgium for the second pre-season race before the start of season 6. We're here for one-shot quali followed by a 35% race, I believe, as the drivers get ready to go very shortly. But first driver to start a lap will be Star. We'll stay on board with Star in the Williams here to see who can be quickest. Currently Star leading the way as Hemi Dimes in behind, followed by Franz, Herman and Scones. Franz takes the lead, possibly running a bit lower wings than Star. Started in a P5 now. And Kevin now into the lead on this one-shot quali run. But can Star pick it up in the middle sector? One of the quickest drivers in WHF. As Ollie retired along with El Pratt. They possibly invalidated the laps as Hemi Dimes was leading. Now Star reclaims the lead as we head through the middle sector, definitely running lower wings than his competitors here. As Star making his way through the chicanes, Hemi Dimes is jousting for position with Star. Hemi currently leads Star just behind. How close is the delta? We're not quite sure. Star gets a purple middle sector and has reclaimed the lead. He's burning the battery now down the back straight here as he heads through Blanchimont. Does he still have the straight line speed? Will we see Hemi reclaim P1 as they charge into the bus stop chicane? Can Star nail the chicane and get pole here in Belgium as he puts foot to the floor and crosses the line and does get it as Hemi Dimes actually down and out. Hemi has made some sort of mistake and is now going backwards. Interesting. As Michael Louis gets P2. Followed by Franz, Herman, Kevin, Cal, Scones, Oxer, as well. But let's see here who, where everyone ended up. After Oxer, it's Andrew, followed by Raheem, Ollie, El Pratt, Hemi, and Thori. And we'll see how the drivers get on for this. This shorter race today, 15 laps around the circuit in Spa. And we'll see how everyone gets on here. But as we get ready for 15 laps around the Belgian circuit, hope you're all doing well on this Sunday evening, as the drivers will soon get ready to fight for pride here around the Belgian circuit here. But get your predictions in the chat. Who do you think's gonna win? Will it be as hello Andrew in the chat, Andrew out there in P7 I believe. Hope everyone's doing well on the Sunday evening, as we've got 12 drivers in for this pre-season race, as WHF gets closer and closer to the start of season 6. Could even be looking at potentially a 3-tier league, although would need around 7 drivers to sign up. So if anyone's watching does want to sign up, we could be racing at Saturdays as tier 2, Sundays as tier 1, but Fridays could be tier 3, or maybe even Monday, whatever day suits. Really, tier 3 would probably end up doing it, but the drivers will be readying up in 1 minute's time as we'll get ready for some battling around the Spa-Francorchamps circuit. and intrigued to see what some of the drivers can do today. We did see a lot of newcomers in that Mexico race yesterday, and we'll see them show their stuff yet again today. And where can they finish here? And I think this is a good indicator because it may allow us to find out what pace some of the drivers have, what tier should they end up in, etc. But the drivers should be ready up now. Get your predictions in. Who do you think is going to win? As any moment now, we should have the drivers ready up, as we'll have the 5 red lights on. Although we'll be doing the formation lap beforehand, that gives us an opportunity to look at the tyre strategies that people have gone for. Half the grid on softs, half the grid on mediums. It's Star, Michael Louis, Franz Hermann, Raheem Ali, Hemi Dimes and Thori on the mediums. Everyone else on the softs. That's Kevin Cal, Scones, Oxer, Patisserie, Andrew and El Prat on the softs. But intrigued to see what some of these drivers can do. Even Franz Hermann, who's a newcomer, very good qualifying from him in P3. Also, Oxer, Patisserie, another newcomer here today. Everyone else here, though, is a mainstay of WHF, as we do have a couple of drivers starting from the back. We did see Hemi Dimes, it would seem to intentionally disqualify himself. I'm not quite sure why. Meanwhile, we know the pace that Star has, so we're gonna guess what he does. He was on pole with around 6 or 8 tenths ahead of Michael Louis. As actually Michael Louis is in the Alpine. That's a weird sight. They got so used to Michael Louis in the Williams that now that he's in the Alpine, it looks weird. But Star, we'll see what he does. Maybe he could do something where he just intentionally lets people through and then starts pushing. You never know. Or he may just disappear down the road. Either way, this social race should be a fun one. And it's a bit of a short one because got a bit of a smaller grid today. But for those of you watching along, we will be back what I believe is next Saturday. For another social race before the start of the season. Should be the final social race before the drivers get ready for 12 races in Season 6. The calendar soon to be announced. As Jamie in the chat says, Gunnar would win if he was there. Well, we'd like to see it. We would absolutely like to see it if Gunnar wins. Unfortunately, Gunnar, we're yet to see him win in WHF, but maybe next season in Season 6 we could see Gunnar pull a victory out of the bag. As Star is lining himself up very diagonally. Interesting to see. As we see Hemi Dimes in the background doing the same thing. But we will have the 5 red lights on here in Belgium. Who will get a good start as Star completely facing across the track towards Michael Louis. Gets a good start and Star into turn 1. Keeps ahead as Michael Louis goes a bit deeper. 3 wide behind as it's 4 wide as Michael Louis goes very deep. And oh, big contact. The Red Bull cut around as cars everywhere. Early damage. El Prat with early damage. Kevin Kell as well. Michael Louis now down to P9 after starting P2. Horrific start for Michael. Went really deep at turn 1 as Franz Hermann now on the rear of Star. Can Franz go for a move on Star? Down into Lacombe. Not close enough to go for a move. Meanwhile, Andrew on the outside of Scones. Andrew battling with the Aston Martin driver and gets through. Andrew into P3 as Raheem now down into P12. Not quite sure what's happened with Raheem. He's dropped down the order as, oh, Ollie with a big mistake. Oh, that's Timmy Dimes with a big mistake down the hill as Michael Louis and Ollie get through on Hemi Dimes. Not quite sure what happened with the Ferrari driver there. As we head on through here, Stars had a strong start. Franz Hermann in behind with a strong start as well. As Andrew also making a couple of places. We'll have a look at the position changes. Andrew up 4. Very strong start for him as Scones up 1. Oxer up 1. Ollie up 3. Michael Louis down 5. Kevin Kell down 7. El Pratt and Kevin both with early damage as Raheem picked up an early spin as well. But let's get the tyre graphic up again. Oh, we've got rid of the interval accidentally. As Franz Hermann back on the rear. We've got... Oh, Scones in the wall! Scones in the wall as Oxer contact with Andrea, I believe, and Scones. Not quite sure what's happened there. And Scones definitely into the box. We're going to have to look at that one after the race to see what happened there. But absolute carnage. Scones was just, as we went on board with Scones, he was spearing off into the wall. We couldn't even see what happened there. But Ollie now on the rear of Oxer Patisserie, as they both have DRS now. Ollie's going to try and out-drag the McLaren as we go down the straight. Michael Louis trying to get involved here as well as we head through Lacombe. Michael Louis on the inside, Oxer on the outside. He's got damage, does the McLaren. And Hemi Dimes with a little bit of gravel on his tyres as he gets the switch back on the McLaren. And the McLaren now down to P7. And unfortunately damage for both McLarens here early on. And they may have to box for new front wings very shortly. Meanwhile, Thori looking for a move on Oxer. And does get the move on the McLaren. The McLaren has to back out. And just doesn't have the downforce he would like. Meanwhile, Franz staying with Star. Good start for Franz here in the social race. This could be a good indicator for how Franz could do in Tier 1 this season. Keeping up a Star at the moment. Welcome in, Rio. Welcome to the stream. And Rio, who won last time out in Mexico, won yesterday in dominant fashion, won by 10 plus seconds as Ollie and Michael Louis battling. Not quite sure what's happened there, but Michael misses out, opens up the door now to Hemi as well. Hemi may look down the inside of turn 1 as Michael leaves the space on the inside. Hemi trying to find the traction on the inside of turn 1. It's a drag race now up to a Rouge. Who's going to back out? Still side by side we go up the hill. What a camera angle this is up the hill. And Hemi round the outside. What a beautiful move from the Ferrari into P5 as Michael going to try and get back ahead. Ollie now down the inside of Andrew as well. Ollie up into P3. Absolute beautiful battling here in Spa. And Hemi getting through on Michael. Ollie getting through on Andrew as Hemi looking back through on Andrew, trying to shape for a move, trying to put pressure on the Haas here. But unable to find a move is Hemi at the moment. But absolutely flooring it in behind Andrew. Andrew washes out a bit wide. As Hemi putting lots of pressure on this Haas ahead of him. Rio says the top 2 was split by 9 thousandths. That is quite a slim margin. As Hemi now back on the rear of Andrew, possibly burning the battery as we're about to head up to Blanchimont. Does Hemi have the straight line speed? Go through Blanchimont corner. Hemi still behind. Andrew holding on to this position now. Will Hemi go for a move down into bus stop? Sends it way late. Oh, and contact with Andrew, and Hemi spins, and that was completely out of control there from Hemi. And Andrew with damage, front right end plate gone, and Hemi unfortunately has murdered Andrew after Andrew having such a strong race. Really unfortunate there for Andrew. Meanwhile, Franz Hermann on the rear of Star now. as Franz going to try and find a way ahead of Star if he can. Burning the battery now as Star may look to go defensive in the Williams. Can Franz sneak away up the inside at Lacombe? Has a little look. Star going to keep it ahead though. Parks his car perfectly in the Williams and stays ahead now. Meanwhile, Himmy trying to get back ahead of Andrew. Andrew going to keep it ahead though. Himmy, it's maybe inevitable by the time he gets ahead, but Anel Pratt has retired out on track, just giving up for the day. As Himmy still trying to find a way through an Andrew, but possibly pushing the limit too hard is Himmy, costing himself a whole lot more time here, especially that big contact with Andrew. As Thory now has joined this battle, can Thory poke a nose in? Is Himmy now going to switch to the inside of the chicane? Side by side they go, and Andrew round the outside is Himmy battling with Andrew, and Himmy finally gets through, but a lot of bumping and barging between Andrew and Himmy, and Himmy does get through finally. Meanwhile, Michael Louis on the rear of Ollie. We've got Franz still on the rear of Star, as Thory gets a through on Andrew as well. Andrew struggling with that damage. I wonder, probably now's a good lap for Andrew to come in and get his front wing fixed, as Franz Herman with a 3-second time penalty as Star leaves the track. Not quite sure what's happened with Franz and Star here. Maybe some contact between the two as Franz looking round the outside of Star, as Andrew does come into the pit lane to fix that front wing. Meanwhile, Franz now back on the rear of Star as we head into the bus stop chicane. Star keeping it ahead of Franz. Franz now right on the tail, but cuts the inside as Raheem has gone round to turn 1. Franz on the rear of Star. Star keeping him at bay, but Franz now goes for a move in. Lacombe breaks later than Star, and a beautiful move from Franz. And Franz now takes the lead. Big spin though. He's just about caught it as Star, oh, and Franz are routed in the wall, and Franz is out. As Star had a lovely move to get back ahead there, and Franz just booted the throttle after losing the lead there. Had a big spin, just about caught it, but then booted the throttle, trying to stay with Star in absolute frustration. And Star now will be able to box onto the hard stand along with Ollie, Michael, Himmy, Thory, Raheem. Will Kevin or Andrew or anyone come in again for another stop? We will see. But this has certainly helped for sure. But that has been an exciting opening to the race. First 5 laps. Franz unfortunately out here on lap 5. But that has given the likes of Star and Ollie and Michael and all an opportunity to come in for the hards. As Ollie does come in. I thought for a second there was about to stay out. Himmy going to also come in as well. Maybe a little bit double stacked by the Ferrari team. Meanwhile, Thory going to come in. Raheem surely going to come in. It gives Raheem an opportunity to fix his front wing. Hopefully he tells his team to fix that front wing, otherwise they won't, because that's just EA games for you. And it also gives Scones an opportunity to get reintroduced to the race, as Star's actually gone into the sauce. Maybe Star's giving himself a little bit of a challenge here to see can he make the sauce last to the end here. Raheem does come in. Do they have a front wing waiting? Yes they do, thank the Lord. As Kevin also coming in again and goes on to fresh mediums. As Raheem teleports out in front of Kevin. Okay. Anyway. But intriguing to see Star on the softs. He'll definitely be quick off this restart, but will he be able to manage the tyres until the end here? We will see. But it has been an exciting race so far. We've had some lovely battles, especially young Himi battling with Andrew up Rouge. As Himi in the chat says, hello Rio. Himi texting and driving, that's points on his license. As we make our way around. As Himi says, calma, calma. But who will win this race? Get your predictions in the chat. Star are going to be very strong on these softs off the start. But I honestly think Star's more worried about just trying to make those tyres last to the end. I wonder is he just... he wants to test himself to see how far he can stretch those softs while also keeping the lead. As we'll do another lap under safety car with Scone still trying to get caught up. Apologies for the yawn. It's been a long day as we're winding down with some racing. Still half of the race to go as we will get the safety car restarted on lap 8. But Star gonna try and pull a gap from Ollie. Ollie gonna try and keep up with him, as Michael and Hemi Dimes also gonna be punching this restart along with Thoria as well. Andrew following his contact with Hemi, and I think Andrew has got his front wing fixed. We'll double check. He has, so Andrew gonna try and get back up to Hemi again to try and find his way through. As Andrew says, the one with the Ferrari from P4 will learn to drive. Yeah, Andrew, as we mentioned him, was not happy with Hemi's shenanigans, as Cypher Megahype says young Hemi for the W. As unfortunately we don't see Franz or El Prat here battling for the win. Oxer, the only newcomer, still out there. But get your predictions in the chat. Who you think's going to win after this safety car restart? Star's going to be very strong on these softs, but can he win is a different story. Got to extend that tyre stint to go very far. But as the safety car is coming in now, when will Star go? And can Ollie catch Star? No, he can't. Star already dropped him. Ollie booted the throttle and made a mistake trying to stay with him. And now can Star drop him out of turn 1? And already Star with a 1.1 gap to Ollie. Ollie caught napping at the wheel. 1.3 is the gap as we head down to turn 1. And Michael Louis now going to try and head after Ollie here, as Star already gapping the field. And Star just going to piece off down the road as Ollie going to try and chase after him. But he's now got to deal with Michael behind him. Meanwhile, Raheem and Kevin swap positions before a Rouge as they head up the hill. And Kevin now ahead of Raheem. Can Raheem find a way back through again on Kevin, as Michael Louis on the inside of Ollie trying to find a way through. Hemi also getting involved here, but not close enough, as Kevin Kell on the rear of Oxer. But Star already 2.3 up the road, hasn't even really had to do much pushing in order to build that gap. He is just sailing off down the road. Not able to keep up. Meanwhile, Kevin Cal on the rear. Of Oxer, if you can find a way through on the McLaren. But the gap here, 3.5, as Scones gets ahead of Raheem. Raheem must have washed out onto the gravel. Just allowed Scones through. Meanwhile, Kevin back on the rear. And Kevin looking for a move on Oxer, but can't get close enough as we head through the final corner. Star setting a 1:45.2, which will probably be the fastest lap for the remainder of the race, as the DRS now enabled. We'll go back up with the Ferrari of Himmy Dimes, who's on the rear of Michael Louis. Michael going to try and get ahead of Ollie. Himmy going to try and get ahead of Ollie here. As Himmy now on the rear of Michael Louis. We may go 3 wide down the Camel Straight. Ollie on the outside, Michael on the inside gets through. Himmy had to back out, didn't want to go for anything too risky, as Andrew on the rear can't find a way through. And Kevin ends up, does get ahead of Oxer, as well as Ollie back down on the rear of Michael Louis, trying to find a way through, as Star continues to pull a monster gap over the rest of the field. Ollie now all over the rear of Michael Louis, if he can find a way through. As Andrew backs out at Pouon, battling with Thory. As Thory picks up a little bit of grass on his tyre at the inside of Pouon. But Thory now dropping back from that train ahead. As Michael Louis, Ollie and Himmy Dimes starting to build an even bigger gap on the cars behind. But Thory now the lead of this second train. Andrew, Kevin, Oxer and Scones following very closely in behind. Very punchy are we now, as Kevin all over the rear of Andrew. Gonna look down the inside on the back straight here, but he lifts off. Got a bit scared, had to lift off, didn't want to go for the move, as Andrew keeps it ahead of Kevin. Oh, and Scones gone very deep, as Oxer gone a little bit deep, but Scones went even further deep, missed his braking point at bus stop. Maybe some dirty air involved. Could have played a factor. Now, meanwhile, Ollie trying to get back ahead of Michael Louis. Didn't get the best exits out of turn 1, neither did Himmy, but Himmy now closer on the rear of Ollie, but Ollie now up the hill we go. Can he charge to get down ahead of the Alpine, as Himmy closing to Ollie very shortly, and Ollie now boxed in, as Himmy gonna try and get through on both of them, and Ollie's killed everyone! Oh, oh, Ollie's just murdered everyone. Oh, what is he doing? Oh, as Oxer battling with Thory. Maybe an illegal overtake involved there, as Andrew letting someone through. As Scones now round the outside of Thory, side by side, they head through No Name. And Scones out wide onto the gravel. That's opened the door to Andrew again. And down the inside of Pouon, Andrew gets through. But Scones round the outside. Tries to get through as Andrew picks up a time penalty. Scones back ahead now into P8. And Ollie, I think, has picked up damage. Yeah, front left end plate gone for Ollie. After contact with Michael Louis and young Himmy Dimes. As, for whatever reason, Ollie just decided he wanted to kamikaze. But now Kevin Cal going to get through on Ollie with his damage. And Ollie may fall further and further back, carrying that end plate damage. Meanwhile, Oxer trying to chase after a former champion here in WHF. Season 3 champion was Ollie. And Oxer, the newcomer, can see the Season 3 champion right ahead of him on track, trying to get inside his DRS range, as Ollie trying to get back ahead of Kevin Cal now. Going to struggle for some downforce without that full front wing intact, as Kevin going to now try and head after his former Season 4 championship rival Kevin now trying to catch Michael Louis as old rivalries have been re-established here in this pre-season race. You'll love to see it. Kevin heading after Michael Louis, and Michael can't believe what he's seen. He's like, oh no, not again. Not have to deal with Kevin. Another race here, as there's only a couple laps to go, as Star leads the field. As Kevin starts to catch Michael, can Michael pull a gap here? He's on the hard tyres, but Kevin still has some decent pace on the mediums at this point. And can Kevin hold on to the DRS of Michael Louis? Can Michael Louis pull a gap on the hard tyres? It's very, very close to see what will happen. As out of Stavolo, Kevin dumping the battery as he charges after Michael Louis, and he may have DRS very shortly. As Oxer now on the rear of Ollie has DRS. Can he make use of it though is a different question. Meanwhile, Kevin now with DRS on the rear of Michael Louis does have that rear wing open. And can Kevin challenge him into Lacombe? As these two battle over the podium as they did many a time in Season 4 while they were battling for the Season 4 title. Kevin Cal was the Season 4 Tier 2 champion. And Kevin doesn't get the best run up a Rouge and Radillon, but still will have DRS to help him close the Michael. But I think Michael has too much of a gap at this point as Oxer trying to catch Ollie. As he closes in on Scones. Closing to the rear of Thory as well. Scones picks up a warning for sure there, cutting the inside of Lacombe. And Andrew trying to get involved here as well as Oxer on the rear of Ollie, trying to find a way through on the McLaren. But washes out wide with a dirty air. Has to rejoin as Scones gets through on Thory. Maybe Thory made the same mistake that the McLaren ahead did. And Scones now up into P7. Love to see the recovery drive from Scones earlier. Contact with Oxer. And Scones ended up on the wall. We're not quite sure what happened there, but now Scones gets a chance to get back ahead of the McLaren following their earlier incident. As Thory trying to get back on the rear of Scones. Scones dumping the battery to try and stay with Oxer ahead. And Thory now, can he go for a move just too far back to go for the move on the Aston Martin driver? He gets a much better run through bus stop, but does not get the exit he wanted. Had to check up a little bit, which has given some Scones some respite. Scones now going to try and get ahead of the McLaren. The McLaren goes deep into turn 1. Scones got a much better run through turn 1 now. He's very close to the McLaren. The McLaren has lost DRS range from Ollie, and as we head up the hill, can Scones dump the battery and use the DRS to try and get ahead of the McLaren of Oxer Patisserie? And now as we head down the Camel Straight, the McLaren flashing as Scones now going to break later into Lacombe. Side by side they go, a little bit of contact. Scones catches it as Thory trying to stick a nose in, but Scones keeps ahead there as Oxer loses out time to Ollie now. Following that battle, Ollie now in P5, pulling a gap as Scones putting pressure on Oxer here. Scones on the rear of Oxer if he can find a way through. One has a little wobble mid-corner, that's allowed Thory on the rear of the Aston Martin now. Side by side they'll go through the back straight. Scones tries to push him to the outside. Thory, though, dancing around the outside, gets through before Blanchimont, and Scones so close to the rear of Thory. Lovely camera angle there in the Blanchimont, but Scones had to back out now. And Thory firmly into P7 now, but can Thory latch onto the rear of the McLaren? of Oxer, who's trying to get back inside DRS range from Ollie. Does have it momentarily, but will he have it out of turn 1? As Thory now, oh, and Scones almost into the rear of Thory. They're not quite sure what happened there, but Scones went very deep through turn 1. As Thory may now try and get ahead of the McLaren. And Thory, DRS engaged and going to blow by the McLaren up into P6 and retake the racing line ahead at Lacombe, as the McLaren almost pushing him through the corner. And Oxer Patisserie still having a decent race. Meanwhile, Scones trying to find his way back through on the hard runner. Meanwhile, Hemi Dimes has made around 1.5 seconds to start. He's going to have to make a lot more of that before the end of this race to start, possibly nearing puncture range here in the penultimate lap of the race. As Thory washes out wide, gets a 3-second time penalty. We've seen Scones wash out wide as well, and he may have got a warning as well. Meanwhile, Thory trying to get back inside DRS range here. Meanwhile, Scones charging after Oxer. As we're about to start the final lap, Hemi's caught another second. I've also forgot Hemi has earlier damage, possibly with that contact with Ollie. But as we start the final lap, Star still has 2.7 of a lead, but will he get a puncture? We will see. That will make things exciting here, as Hemi does start to catch Star. But will it be enough by the end? Scones goes a bit deep into turn 1 again, trying to get the exit now to try and work a move on the McLaren. The McLaren trying to get DRS off Thory ahead, which he should have. And Scones now with DRS on Oxer, but Oxer ahead of him does have DRS as well. And here on lap 15 of 15, Hemi keeps trying to catch Star. Is Star struggling with tyres? I'd love to be able to tell what percentage his tyres are on. Unfortunately, there's no graphic that indicates that for us. But they do look very worn, as he's managing like mad, as Hemi closing and closing here on the final lap. The gap now at 1.2. I don't think it'll be enough, but if Star gets a puncture through Blanchimont, that could certainly give Hemi the opening. Hemi has been catching rapidly here, as Star trying to manage these softs to the end. And as he enters the bus stop chicane, we'll have to ask Star after the race what tyre wear he ended up on, but Star dominated from the start to finish and crosses the line and wins in Belgium ahead of Hemi Dimes. Next it's Michael Louis. Meanwhile, Thory and Ollie battle into the bus stop, and Ollie going to keep it ahead as Kevin Kell runs into the rear of the Williams of Star, as Oxer jumps up to P6, Scones in P7, Thory down to P8, Andrew to P9, and Raheem in P10. But that was a fun social race there, a fun pre-season race here in Belgium. Hope you've all enjoyed that. For those of you listening in the chat, if you've not signed up yet, please do. The link to the Discord is in the bio of both the YouTube and the Twitch, and even the TikTok as well. For those of you who are unaware, as Craig says, "Yippee!" in the Twitch chat. But Star deservingly winning in this pre-season race. But there you have it, driver of the day. Oh my god, that's so loud. That hurt my eyes, how loud that was. Oh, that's an immediate headache. Oh. I don't think I've ever had such an immediate headache in my life before, but there is an immediate headache. Thank you for that, Hemi. Is Hemi happy with his P2? But oh my god, my head is immediately in pain. But anyway, thank you all for watching. If you have enjoyed, this has been WHFR or Arrow, and we're gonna find someone to raid on our way. We're gonna raid Spectre, who's a former racer here in WHF. But anyway, thank you all for watching. If you have enjoyed, please drop a follow. Also, make sure to sign up in the Discord, and we will see you all next week for the final social race before the start of Season 6.